Search out the treasure of the hidden valley. Jashwin and his friends Saad, Atasham, Amira, and Guntaz were buzzing with excitement. Their school, Jodhamal Public School, was organizing a week-long camping trip in the remote hills of Jammu, and the group couldn't wait to escape the usual school routine. The teachers had promised that it would be an adventure full of nature walks, campfires, and treasure hunts. The trip began like any other school camp. They hiked through the dense pine forests, swam in clear mountain streams, and spent evenings sitting around the campfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. But on the third day, things took an unexpected turn. After an afternoon of hiking, the group found themselves far from the campgrounds, deep in a secluded valley. The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the rocky landscape. As they explored, Amira suddenly stumbled upon something unusual. A large stone slab, half buried beneath the ground. She gasped and called the others over. "What is this?" Guntaz muttered, brushing away the dirt. Together, they unearthed the stone, revealing ancient symbols carved into its surface. The markings seemed to form a map that led to a location hidden deeper in the valley. "This looks like some kind of treasure map," Saad exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. Jashwin studied the map carefully. "It leads to a cave in the mountains. Maybe it's an old treasure hidden long ago." The idea of discovering something ancient and valuable thrilled them all. Without wasting any time, the friends decided to follow the map, eager to see where it would lead. They trekked through dense thickets, crossed a narrow bridge over a fast-flowing stream, and climbed up a series of rocky hills. As they reached the foot of the mountain, the entrance to a dark cave appeared, just as the map had shown. "This is it," Atasham said, his voice full of wonder. Inside the cave, they found a wooden chest, heavily decorated with intricate designs. It was old and covered in dust, but still intact. Jashwin opened the chest. Inside, they found gold coins, sparkling jewels, and ancient artifacts, an incredible collection that looked like it had been untouched for centuries. "This is amazing," Amira whispered, her eyes wide. "We've found an actual treasure." However, their celebration was short-lived. As they admired the treasure, the sound of footsteps echoed from the cave entrance. At first, they thought it was just an animal, but soon the shadows of several figures appeared in the cave's entrance. The figures were tall, menacing, and armed with flashlights and tools. "Looks like we've got some company," Guntaz whispered, his voice tight with fear. The figures stepped forward, and Jashwin understood who they were. They were robbers, clearly intent on taking the treasure for themselves. The leader, a gruff-looking man with a scar running down his cheek, grinned when he saw the kids standing near the chest. "Well, well, what do we have here?" the man sneered. "A bunch of kids playing treasure hunt? This treasure belongs to us now." "We won't let you take it," Saad shouted, stepping in front of the chest. The leader of the robbers chuckled darkly. "You really think you can stop us? You're just kids." The friends huddled together, trying to figure out what to do. The robbers were much stronger and better equipped than they were. Jashwin thought quickly. He remembered a part of the map they had overlooked earlier. It showed a hidden exit to the cave. It wasn't the main entrance, but it might be their only chance to escape and get help. "Quick, over here," Jashwin whispered, pointing to a narrow passage on the side of the cave. The group scrambled toward the exit, but the robbers were quick to react. One of them lunged at Jashwin, but Jashwin, using all his strength, shoved the man back. "Run!" Atasham shouted, as the others squeezed through the narrow passage. The friends hurried down the hidden tunnel, which wound through the mountain like a labyrinth. The sound of the robbers' voices echoed behind them, growing fainter as they ran. The passage opened into a small valley on the other side of the mountain, just a few miles from the nearest village. Gasping for breath, the kids looked at each other, wide-eyed. They had narrowly escaped, but the robbers were still out there. They had to do something before the thieves reached the treasure again. "We need to tell the police," Jashwin said urgently. "If we go back to the village, we can report this. They'll be able to stop the robbers and protect the treasure." The group agreed, and they rushed toward the village, which was located at the base of the mountain. It took them nearly an hour to get there, but once they did, they found the local police station. They explained everything: the treasure, the robbers, and the cave. The police were skeptical at first, but after hearing their story and realizing that the kids were telling the truth, they agreed to send a team to investigate. The officers armed themselves and made their way to the cave, while Jashwin and his friends stayed at the station, waiting anxiously for news. By the time the police returned, the robbers had been apprehended. The treasure chest was safely recovered, and the robbers were taken into custody. The officers praised the children for their bravery and quick thinking. "You kids saved that treasure," one of the officers said, shaking Jashwin's hand. "You did the right thing by bringing it to us. The treasure will be returned to the authorities, and it will be preserved for history." Jashwin and his friends smiled at each other. They had done something no one would believe, but it didn't matter. They had worked together, solved the mystery, and kept something truly special safe from those who would have used it for greed. That night, back at the campsite, the group sat around the campfire, their hearts still racing from the adventure. The treasure was no longer in their hands, but they had gained something far more valuable: the knowledge that together they could face any challenge, no matter how big or dangerous. And from that day on, whenever they looked at each other, they didn't just see classmates. They saw a team of adventurers who had uncovered a piece of history and made sure it was protected.